What's up, guys? We are live. Welcome back to the Ange Tv Show, guys. It was a hot day today in Montreal. It's been a crazy month in sports. It's been a crazy month for anything, for that fact. And guys, I have another very, very special guest behind the scenes. He's waiting backstage. Guys, he has the answer to all your questions regarding love, relationships, loss, dealing with breakups, okay? And for those of you that are asking, I'm not dealing with a breakup, okay? We're just doing this so we can help others that are dealing with breakups and losing people that are very close to us. So without further ado, guys, I have backstage motivational Tik Toker hailing from the West Island of Montreal, Mr. Sergio Talks.
What an introduction. You had me smiling in the backstage of this whole time.
Nice. Thank you, Sergio. I appreciate it. How are you, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I gotta say though, I just like first and foremost, this whole setup that you got going on, top notch. It's really, really impressive.
I appreciate it, Sergio. Thank you very much. Everybody that comes on says that, so I must be doing something good, right?
Yeah, most definitely. My hats off to you.
Yeah. So we have Brandon's in the building, Dark Resident. We have Stephanie Pimento. She's one of your paisans. She's actually Portuguese, Sergio.
Well, we're both disappointed today, I think.
Yeah, you guys are very disappointed for that big loss, but what do you want to do? Hey, you guys won the last Euro, so I mean,
exactly.
You'll take it. So the big burning questions, guys. Who is Sergio Talks?
Yeah, well, I mean, Sergios.Talks is, he was born 7 months ago on TikTok. I went through, a turmoil of my own stuff. And, just contemplating in my way of healing and, just coping with what I had going on in my own life was really just, making my own videos, right? And through that came the motivation, the overcoming, rediscovering oneself. But who I am as a person, I mean, you said it yourself, from the West Island, 25-year-old Taurus. There's nothing much more to it than that, right? I have everything else that everybody else would have if ever they want to become somebody or an influencer or a motivational speaker. I'm a guy just like you and everybody else,
Exactly. You're out there hustling. And guys, if you're wondering how I stumbled upon Sergio, well, I pretty much stumbled upon him on the For You page. I mean, the guy, I'm sure you've seen his, if you're on TikTok, I'm sure you've seen his face. And, when I saw his little TikTok story, what do you call it, a story? Or just a video?
Yeah.
Upload, new TikTok, whatever.
Yeah.
When I saw it and he's like, listen to this at least 2 times, I was like, this is something unique over here. You know what I mean? Like, I like to, it's like variety is a spice of life. You know what I mean? It's like, I like to have people on here that are going to bring something new, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're here, Sergio. I have a lot of questions for you tonight. I'm sure a lot of people do have questions as well.
Yeah, actually, I have one for you as well, actually.
No problem, yeah.
You mentioned earlier, you're not going through a breakup yourself or anything like that. So what was it that got you interested in actually following through and watching the rest of the video? Although it might not resonate 100% with your current situation, no?
Yeah, okay. So I'm glad you asked that. So when I saw your video, it's not because I'm going through a breakup, but I did have to deal with loss, though. I did lose my grandfather. It's about a year now. It's almost exactly a year. That's funny. We're talking about it. I'm sure he's watching down on us, But there's something about sad stuff that I like. Mm-hmm. There's something about looking at something and then just feeling a bit sad. To me, it's like grief is a part of life, right? No. And that's something we're going to talk about with dealing with losing, because we're not just talking about relationships today. We're also talking about dealing with losing a loved one. It could be your father, your grandfather, a close friend. You know what I mean? And we all deal with losses. It's part of life. But the thing is, how do we get past that, right? How do we keep our head above water? And that's why you're here, Sergio, to help us with that. Absolutely. But before we do that, I want to know a bit about your childhood, Sergio. Were you always this type of very, very intelligent, in your car? Were you always that type, like very, very spontaneous?
Actually, I wasn't. I'm the youngest in the family. I kind of was the one with the least heard voice, right? I was always the one trying to, bust my way through and get dad's or mom's attention kind of thing, right? But I always remember seeing my brother. My brother's a very critical thinker. He's very rational, right? And I remember listening to the kind of conversations that would have around the table. And I just remember not knowing what the hell they were talking about, but I just knew that I wanted to get to that level of comprehension and that level of being able to think critically and stuff like that
Okay.
at a very, very young age, even though my brain just wasn't developed there, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, people tend to call me, people who know me, people, even strangers, they tend to think I'm an old soul or whatnot. I don't know how that comes into play, but I was always, because my brother was always kind of associated with my dad and my mom with my sister, I was kind of left alone. It sounds like a very sob story, right? But it's not. I was kind of left alone to kind of very like think, you know, on my own terms, right? And kind of just do things for myself. And I was very, very rebellious too. I was like eager to get mom's attention or dad's attention. So I would do things, lash out and stuff like that. But at the very core of it, I spent a lot of time alone. And to this day, I still do, you know, to battle my own demons and stuff like that. But it's genuinely, I think for me, at least, however, it's the way that I deal with my stuff, you know?
Absolutely. But like I said, there's something about you, about your videos that just like people are like, they just fall in love, dude. They fall. I mean, they see the video and like, oh my God, that's so true. I think relatability is one of the key factors in your videos, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, besides being human, I mean, everybody loves, everybody gets sad, everybody gets angry. So, I mean, emotions within themselves are super relatable, you know, disregard the content, you know?
For sure. And that's why I wanted to talk a bit about how your passion started for motivational speaking. Like, were you the type that you just like, you know, you went for a ride, just something happened, maybe you got into a fight with your brothers or your sisters. You said you had a brother, right?
I had an older brother and an older sister, yeah.
Okay, so did you ever have fights with your brothers, your parents, and you just wanted to go for a ride to Mount Royal, you know, and then just sit in your car and think about, like, reflect a bit?
Well, it's funny. I mean, you know, we've always been close when it came to being like, you know, family activities and stuff like that, but we were never super close as to like sharing personal stories or getting to know one another. So I loved my brother, I loved my sister. But we never shared or really knew much about each other, right? Until that like all this happening is very, very recent. So no, we wouldn't. So that wouldn't leave any room really for fights or disagreements or anything like that, because we would hardly talk with each other or really, you know, end up having debates or anything like that, right? Mm-hmm. So no, but for me, genuinely, what it was that started this whole thing is that I've always loved driving and going on rides just to clear my head on whatever I was going through. But the whole TikTok and motivational speaking aspect happened really when I was going through my own breakup. And like I said, I just needed to transfer my energy of being sad, angry, depressed, anxious, whatever. And to me, it was to make something creative, hence the TikTok portion, right? That was really what stemmed this whole motivational speaking kind of stuff.
Okay, so basically the TikTok started because of your breakup. So, and this is something you wanted to tell me about. So now's the time, take the stage. I want to know what happened with this breakup, what type of feelings were going through your head, because there's so many people that can relate to this now, in 100 years from now, 50 years from now. So I want to know what was going through your head. How did you deal with your own breakup?
At the beginning, it was very, very, very tough. The main reason given was because during the relationship itself, I'd lost a big part of who I was. I was accommodating and bending myself over for the relationship, you know, in ways that I thought were healthy, but they weren't. I was very blinded as well, right? And I just found myself, you know, giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, that I just stopped doing things for me, and I was just doing stuff for the relationship's sake, right? And then when the relationship ended, well, I had given so much to it that I completely disregarded, you know, my own existence, quote unquote, right? So my health, my actual physical health, my mental health, my emotional state was completely out of whack when we broke up. So think of it as, you know, starting from ground zero, right? I mean, I moved out of the apartment, back with my parents, you know, so I kind of felt like I was back at square one. And, you know, you plan this whole future with someone, you know, marriage, kids, this, that, plans. And like all of a sudden now, it's like they're no longer there. You don't even need to think about them. And now you don't know where to start. So that was the whole breakup situation in a very, very short, condensed way. But, you know, I always take events like these as blessings in disguise, right?
Yeah, we have a question already from FNA Fever 87. Said, my best friend is dating this guy for 2 years and he's still friends with his ex. Should she be worried?
Yeah, good old staying friends with the ex kind of question. I mean, look, every situation is very, very particular. But if we're just looking at the grand scheme of things, I don't think there's a problem being friends with your ex only after you've grieved and you've mourned the breakup and you've actually done things for yourself in order to become a better, bigger person, right? And once you focus on yourself for a while and you have like your life back together and you're doing things, you're eating healthier, you're working out, you have a good job and whatever. If you still feel like there's a void that needs to be filled by your ex as a friend after having done the work, I personally don't see why not. However, I think you and I both know that when you find someone new, right, you don't know how that new person is going to take that. You don't know if they're going to want you to stop talking to your ex or they might find it weird. So it's kind of something that seems to be inevitable where you're going to have to end up stop talking to your ex anyways.
Yeah.
But if this person is very adamant about having their ex in their life, it all depends on how long like they were broken up for, like what their terms are, et cetera, right? So it's very touchy, but in a general scope of things, to answer your question, not worried, just vigilant.
You know what, Sergio? It's interesting with your response and everything. From my own experience, like I've dealt. Listen, I'm not gonna consider somebody went on a date with once or twice as a big breakup. You know what I mean? It's like you weren't even in a relationship to begin with. But from my actual serious relationships, there's not one time. Well, there's not one time for me that I stayed friends with an ex. I don't know what you think about that, but it always ended up being a problem. Sometimes it would be them texting, like not believing that it's over, saying, "Oh, why don't you come over and let's talk?" Like just wanting to prolong it. Other times, it just became a distraction. You know what I mean? Or the new person you're starting to date, then they're saying, "Why are you talking to your ex? Who are you texting?" I can tell you right now that I'm in a relationship of 2 years, and there's no way in hell there would be like any lady talking to me. You know what I mean? Like trying to flirt, whatever. Forget it. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like to me, it never worked out being friends with exes, and that's always something I at the end of the day, I'm not gonna hate that person. We're gonna leave off in good terms. But don't expect me to like come to your birthdays and no, none of that stuff. You know what I mean? For me. But like I said, everybody's different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I get that question a lot. A lot of the clients of mine ask me, like, should I stay friends with my ex? Should I text them happy birthday or Merry Christmas? And I'm never one to tell someone what to do, but I always just ask them, like, why? Right? And then they kind of say, like, well, I don't know, like, I don't want, like, to burn any bridges and stuff like that or whatever. And in my head, it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. But, you're making yourself so available to a person that literally does not owe you anything anymore, right? So that's the whole thing is like you still, because usually what happens is that when we break up, when somebody gives you kind of like almost like an ultimatum and says like, hey, like we'll break up, like we could still be friends. The person that's on the, on the defensive side of things, they're going to take whatever relationship they could salvage. So they'll settle for friends, right? Because to them, it means that they're still around, there's still a chance, there's still a hope. But the person doing the breaking up is living the best of both worlds. They can now go out, be single, do whatever they want. And if the odd chance that their single life goes to, to shit, they know that they have a fallback plan, right?
So you're saying it's a cowardly way of doing it, basically.
It's a very, very scapegoat way of doing it, right? It's like, I want to go see the grass is greener on the other side, but I want to make sure that I have a home to come back to if ever it's not greener, right? But then it's just unfair. And like I said, I don't think people do this on purpose. I don't think people actually think the things that I'm saying. I think people just act the way they do. And, this is the consequences that happen through that, right?
Yeah. We're going to talk more about that. We still have that big question of how do you deal with a breakup, which we're going to get to. Yeah. But first, I want to know about your first TikTok. Like, what was it about?
My first TikTok, actually, funny fact, it was I just filmed a piece of scenery in the Grand Canyon of Vegas, and I had that already pre-recorded on my phone from a trip years ago. And I actually got inspired by someone else's TikTok, and it was like a psychological fact, which it wasn't. So I wasn't even in it. I didn't even speak any words. So I just put that, and that first video on that account blew up. And then the minute that one blew up, I'm like, okay, I gotta, because to feed the algorithm, I'm like, you know what? Let me immediately post another video right away. But I'm like, you know what? Let me actually try to say something and see how well it goes, right? That was really the first TikTok on how it happened, and that was just like the snowball that started rolling down the mountain.
We have a few questions here. One of them is sarcastic. I'm just warning you. J Wild Music says, "What do you think about the lyric that says, 'Even if I hit it, you're just part of my collection'?" Oh man.
I mean, the answer's in the pudding. I think it already, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, everybody, like, that kind of seems like a very petty response to somebody that was like broken up with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, also in the music industry, people talk highly about, having, side chicks and stuff like that. So it's very easy to put a label, but that's definitely far from, true love kind of relationships.
For
right?
sure.
You wouldn't consider somebody that you actually had a decent relationship with to just be part of your collection,
You know what's funny, Sergio? This guy Jay Wild. Actually, I don't even know his real name, but Jay Wild. He actually met somebody on my chat. She's here also. They're no longer dating though, but they were dating like long distance. You know what I mean? Like online, long distance.
Yeah.
It didn't end up working out, but it's funny because they're both watching right now. This is hilarious,
Well, welcome. You guys are both out. Therapy is now in session.
Exactly, but they like, not to put you guys on the spot, but I'm saying they're a good example of what they want to know. Like, why didn't it work out? So like I said, you guys stay put because we have a lot of interesting questions for Sergio. Michael Anker says, "What do you think about the people that don't want a relationship, as in people who are staying single, not going to mingle? What do you think about singledom, basically?"
Well, I mean, I think, like I said, if you're coming out of a breakup, I always think that staying single is very good without needing the need to mingle. Because this is kind of like, whenever, like if ever anybody has had food poisoning before, let's say you had food poisoning on chicken, it's going to take you a while before you can start eating chicken again, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of has the same like mental effect going through a breakup where you do not want to fathom the thought of having to start all over again with someone because it left a very bitter taste in your mouth, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think what's very important is that I think it's very healthy to become addicted to self-improvement in this period of being single, right? Okay. And then as you do that, the wanting to become into a relationship again, that's going to come. It's going to come with time, right? There's no X amount of time that specifically how long it's going to take before you're willing to date. It all depends on your personal journey and how, you respond to this kind of a breakup, right? Because a breakup can hit you much harder, much easier than other people, right? So it depends,
We have another question. Stephanie says, "What are some ways that we can let go of our sense of attachment towards someone?"
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I think it's very important to distinguish precisely that word, attachment, right? Is taking conscious of where you're at currently and understanding and asking yourself, am I attached to this person or am I genuinely in love with this person? And the way of, distinguishing the two is, am I constantly thinking of just like the happy moments that we had? Or am I genuinely missing what this person, brought as value into my life? And I'm not talking about made me happy, bought me gifts and stuff like that. No, like, does this person actually push you to do better? Was he actually there in your times of crisis? Like, was he really the person that you knew that you had to call one person in your phone that he would pick up and he would, be there for you every single time, right? So that's it's very important to distinguish between the two. And attachment is just, you could like someone, but they're not necessarily good for you, right? I mean, that's why people have attachment to celebrities. They have celebrity crushes. You never met the guy. He never spoke to you. You have an attachment towards him because the music he sings or the words he says makes you feel some type of way, right?
Yeah, she loves your answer. And also, FNA said, do you watch any Montreal TikTokers? Do you know any Montreal TikTokers? Like, do you collaborate with them?
I'm gonna give you a bit of tea, okay? But okay. I had a TikTok account before, right? It blew up with my chihuahuas, and I wanted to make it more personal. Like, you know what? Let me try the whole dancing gimmick and whatnot. I had to reach out to Montreal TikTokers to do collabs and stuff. I'm not gonna name any names, but yeah, I know of some TikTokers, but not within the same niche as me. But yeah, I definitely know some TikTokers that I genuinely find are very, very funny and that I do watch. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, awesome. Also, Stephanie said you gave a wonderful answer, and Michael, who's like on the single side, the singledom side, said, "I have never been in a relationship myself. I don't want to be in a relationship. I just don't want that. I have my friends and family. I don't need drama.
That's fine.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine, Michael. You know, and what's up, Scaldy? Scaldy's in the building. How are you? So I want to know, when you make your videos, like, how long does it take you to come up with these ideas? Probably not that long, because you said you just sit in your car, you think about these things. You know what you remind me of, Sergio? When I'm in the shower and I start singing in the shower, like I start making these raps in the shower, I'm like, if I were to publish these raps, they would be instant hits. So to me, it's like you're thinking of things. You're like, you know what? Why don't I just publish these things? You know what I mean? Why don't I just share it with other people? Like, I find you come up with the best content when you're just reflecting and thinking about things in your life, right?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. I'm not even going to rephrase it. Exactly what you said is what first kicked off my first, talks to myself in my car. So it was very, very effortless. The only thing now is that obviously I'm over my breakup. I'm on to new and better things, right? So the only thing that takes me a little bit of a long time to do is to tap back into how I felt at the time, because I still wanted to remain genuine, right? I still wanted to remain like the same impact that I had on people back then. I still wanted to have the same effect now, right? So it just takes me some time to get back into like that emotional state of remembering how I used to felt. But the videos within themselves, it takes me 5 minutes to shoot and edit all together, tops 10. That's it.
And that's the beauty of your platform and the videos. And like I said, you have unlimited content. There's always something. Like, the mind just processes so many thoughts and ideas. It's beautiful. Like, to you always have something to do. And you also have motivational Mondays, I believe, right? On your Instagram stories?
Yeah, motivational Mondays, tipful Tuesdays, and Wednesday wisdoms. That's the whole thing, yeah.
Exactly. Guys, you're asking what Sergio's usernames are. I have it in the description. I have his Instagram. Go follow him. And I also have his TikTok. So go follow him on TikTok. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video, to my channel, the Ange TV Show. Guys, don't forget that. And also share this out, because there's so many people that need to see this video right now. So that they can go to Sergio's page and then just take in and learn. Take in, and then maybe if we help one person, it makes me happy. You know what I mean? Lena is in the building. How are you, Lena? I don't know if she's one of your followers, Sergio.
I think she is. Yeah, I recognize the profile picture. Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome, Lena. All right, now we're getting into the meat questions over here. Okay, the big question of the lives: how do you deal with a breakup? So I want to know whether it's you that breaks up or the other person breaks up. What do you do? What do you do, Sergio?
So I deal mostly with people that have been the ones who were broken up with.
Okay.
Oftentimes, depending on how long it's been, right? So if I could like categorize, the steps is that the first few days, first few weeks, don't think about doing anything. Just feel the emotions of what you're going through. Allow yourself to be angry, get sad, get whatever, cry it out, whatever. Allow yourself to kind of feel like you're detoxing from the whole situation, right? But then at some point, it's very important to realize that this isn't happening, to you. This is happening for you. And then from that moment on, start listing things now that are going to make you happy. And not only going to make you happy, but they're going to help you improve your overall being, right? So you could think about going back to the gym, eating healthier, reconnecting with friends and family, doing activities or things that you always wanted to do, but you've never done before, childhood dreams that you dropped or you let go because of the person that you were with, right? Yeah. So it's really remembering who you were, right? Remembering about the goals and ambitions and everything that you had going for you before the relationship even started, right? Because we all know you kind of divert off course as soon as you meet somebody, right? Which is fine. Yeah. So it's really just remembering where you came from and now where you want to be at, and then now how are you going to get there is what's important. Obviously, after you've done your due diligences and you've been mad, you've been angry, you've been depressed, and everything, right?
Yeah. And you know what, Sergio? I know this is like a huge question. Like, you could probably go on this for like 5 lives, but one thing I have a hard time understanding. Okay. People break up. Now, I get it. Sometimes it's the guy or the girl. The guy breaks up with you, right? So let's say you're a girl. A guy breaks up with you, and then you automatically go look for somebody else, right? Because you want that companionship back, right? But you're also looking for somebody to make that old person to forget about them, right?
Yeah.
So, like, is it the right thing to do to jump into a relationship right away? Is it true that we should wait half the duration of the relationship that you're in to go find somebody else? What do you think about that, Sergio? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, look, I've never studied the whole psychological aspect of it, right? So I don't know about the whole like doubling or whatever. I genuinely think it's however long you feel it, you need. I
Mhm.
definitely do feel that you do need at least a good, maybe significant, 4 to 6 months of being just by yourself in order to actually,
Yeah.
if not start changing, then having done small changes into your life, right? But absolutely, definitely, from going from one relationship to the next is a big no-no. That's just as bad as trying to cope with your emotions by going to alcohol or drugs or anything like that. It's just as addicting, and it's
Yeah.
just as bad for you. You know.
And don't forget, Sergio, okay, when you're going into a relationship, because the thing is, I'm saying this out of experience because I've dated women that told me that they're still, not even that they still care about their ex, that they're upset about their ex.
Yeah.
Like they've told me that he screwed me over, he played video games, he didn't save up to buy a ring, and I didn't get married, and look what happened to me. Like as if it's my fault, right? But like, it's like I don't get it. Why move on to someone else? You haven't even healed yourself. You know what I mean? It's something that when I was dating in the last, let's say, 5 years, I saw it a lot, dude. And sometimes they won't even tell you that it's because of their ex. They'll just say, "Oh, I'm not interested in you," or "No, it's not working out," right? Like it's just no. You need the time to be alone, think about things, right? Like I mean, you just broke up. It could be a year, it could be 5 years. I mean, if you're with the person for like a couple weeks or a month, it's a bit different. But I'm saying, if you're with somebody for at least a year or more, I would think that you would want to take time for yourself to think things over, right? And then figure out like okay, I dated this person, it didn't work out. What was it about, what aspects about that person that I don't want to look for in the future, right? So, but I say this because I see it a lot, Sergio. From people screaming in sex your ex's name or stuff like that, like I see it a lot.
It's wild. So, it's really, really wild. I haven't made amends with your past relationship. And I'd much rather have, like you just mentioned, like the example that you just gave, I'd much rather have, a girl tell me like, hey, I'm just not interested without telling me it's your ex, rather than somebody continuously bringing up their ex, yet trying to convince me that they're over them, right?
Yeah.
But every now and then I hear like, oh, man, I can't stand like this, like that movie or this restaurant because like that's where I had a moment with my ex. Like if you're telling me that, but you're telling me at the same time that you're completely over your ex and you're telling me not to worry about it, I already know that's a red flag. So I just much prefer someone like don't beat around the bush and tell me you're not interested, rather as try to make yourself believe that you're over your ex when in reality you're not, right?
Absolutely. That was a great response, by the way, for the breakup part. But I have another aspect to this, which I told you guys we were going to talk about. Dealing with a sudden loss. So it could be your cat died, it could be your dog died, it could be your father, which is that would be a big thing. Your mother, a grandfather, a grandmother. How do you deal with, especially when it happens unexpectedly? Like we've seen a lot of tragedies, Sergio, over the years and everything. But when somebody that you really love, okay, and obviously they love you back, they're not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? What do you do, Sergio?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, a part of it, like I said, there's a moment where you're allowed to grieve about the whole situation, right? Mm-hmm. It's really what you do after that's gonna define the outcome of the rest of your life, pretty much, right? If you just continue to feed yourself the negative, depressing thoughts over and over and over again, you won't come out and you won't be able to deal with a sudden loss, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you a perfect example. My current girlfriend, which was the ex that we spoke about earlier, when we first met, 2 or 3 weeks after we met, she lost her dad.
Oh, okay.
Again, it was absolutely sudden, right?
Yeah.
But just seeing her and the way that she acted was absolutely beautiful, because the way that she approached it was like, okay, now I'm responsible for my mom, my brother, and this and that. So she didn't, like, she allowed herself to grieve and whatever and to take everything in, but immediately she tapped into not allowing herself to become a victim to the loss, but instead now she took the upper hand and she took charge of her life and the people around her, right? So it's definitely going through the emotions for the first little bit, but it's really taking actions afterwards. Some people, they like to live their life in honor of the people that you just lost, right? It depends on your beliefs and your, if you're a spiritual person, religious person, whatever it is. But there's definitely, I think, a mindset that we could all share together, and it's really grieve, be there, spend time with family. But once you've done the act of doing the whole, burial and grieving and stuff like that, don't just now live a life of kind of just wandering by and as if like life kind of just suddenly stopped. No, you have to realize that life keeps going. And if anything, it should be a wake-up call to make you precisely realize that you could literally leave this earth at any point in time, right?
Exactly. It's a reality check. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a reality check. And just you have to grasp the fact that time here is not given, right? No, we're not born with a sheet that tells us that we're going to die on May 6th, 2024, right?
Yeah.
So it's really that instead of now, moping and grieving for 6 months, realize that 6 months you're going to spend grieving, you will never get that time back. And just imagine what you could be doing with those 6 months and what you could have done either to better yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, whatever it is. You will never get that time back, right?
And you know what, Sergio? Like, I wanted to know actually, did you ever have a sudden loss in your family or somebody you know, or did you ever have to experience that yet?
Yeah, I lost a friend of mine. He was actually my soccer teammate. We were really close. I mean, we played for years with each other, right?
Condolences.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. And it was sudden, and it was my first real, funeral of somebody that was dear to me, right?
Okay.
And it was kind of like surreal at first. You're kind of just thinking that like you'll see them next week, kind of thing, right? Even after it's done. But like I said, living for the other person, like now every time I go to play, I play soccer, because I used to play soccer with him. My sprints are for him, my goals are for him, like what drives me through my games are now for him, right?
You live vicariously through him, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just like a fun fact, going back to the whole, this is just a small paragraph, like my tattoos are all historic, right? They all have meaning and significance. And really? I live through these tattoos, right? So these are part of me. These are like to remind me of certain things, particularly on how to, be a better person or not to give up, or something that, needs to remind me of the strength that I need, kind of thing. So I live not only through him as well, but just any historical person that's ever done something for society, to their own friends or family, that's been commendable. Like that's really what I feel like people need to be, kind of taught, like a purpose kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that it's really cool that you said that your tattoos, they represent things and everything. It's really that's remarkable. And then there's another thing, Sergio, dealing with narcissistic people. I see this on YouTube all the time. How to deal with a narc. So what is a narc exactly? If you can explain to us, because some people don't really understand. What is somebody that's narcissistic?
Yeah, there's a lot of definitions. If I could just like summarize it, someone who's narcissistic is mainly someone who, quite frankly, uses someone else for their own benefits, whether it's money, love, lust, whatever it is, and they only use them for the period of time that they need them until they are able to find their next victim. So narcissists usually hop from one relationship to the next, because if they're seeking out lust, they'll find whoever could get them lust. And then the minute that now they want maybe like something financial, or now they want love, well, then they will immediately leech on to someone that could provide them that. And the thing about them is that the way that they do this is that they can make people fall in love with them like that, because they literally tell you everything that you want to hear, and they make you see everything that you want to see from them, right? But they adapt almost like a chameleon. They could literally be a bunch of different people, and they just basically they mold themselves around the person, right? So like if I like video games, the person's gonna tell me they like video games. I want to play with you. Let's start a like a Twitch or whatever. And then another person can say I hate video games, but I love sports. And let's just be like, I love sports too. Let's go to this game, that game. Let's travel to the stage, this and that, right? So it's very, very extreme, kind of, and in the way that they operate in terms of as a narcissist.
Exactly. Wow, interesting. That's an amazing response. Slim Jim Longfoot is in the building. How are you, Slim Jim? We're talking about relationships, loss, breakups. But you know what I really want to know, Sergio? I want to know your opinion on these dating sites. Okay, we talked about it a bit briefly.
Yeah.
And you know what, guys? I wouldn't be ashamed to say that I was a big advocate of it before. I'm not joking. Like my brother actually started with the dating sites, and he met somebody. So, as a younger brother, you always look up to your brother, and you kind of do the same things that they do. Yeah. So I said, you know what? Why don't I try it myself? And you know what, guys? It took a bit of time to break the ice and get going. But you know what? I went on a lot of dates, Sergio. I'm telling you, buddy, in high school, I wasn't a guy that was somebody that dated, or I didn't think it was important. I wasn't interested in it. And then in my early 20s, I started to go on these dating sites, and I found a lot of success. Like it's pretty easy, Sergio.
Yeah.
You make an account, you put a couple pictures. Hey, what's up? Are you a student? Are you this? Are you that? Whatever your icebreaker is, you're gonna find someone on there, right? Like, I mean, you're gonna find someone to get a date. I didn't say you're gonna find your soulmate, but I'm saying you will find a date on there. Yeah. Right, Sergio? What are your thoughts on these dating sites?
Well, I've never used them ever. To this day, I've yet to download Tinder, Badoo, or anything like that. I'm very old school. I'm very old fashioned. But from the people that I have spoken to, the clients that I do have, every experience so far in terms of love has never worked out on a dating site. The reason being that I think is because there's no depth behind someone's profile page, right? I mean, if you go read my Instagram bio, it's not going to tell you anything about me, right? But based on my pictures and what you see and certain quotes that I put and this and that and blah, 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 you're going to make an assumption of the kind of person that I am, right? So the thing about dating sites is that people put expectations before having even spoken to the person for the first time. Right? And the minute that the person now doesn't meet their expectations, they're either turned off, or then they say like, oh yeah, I didn't know you were going to be this way. It's like, yeah, well, you didn't know because you never gave me the actual chance to, to show you who I was before, right?
Yeah.
So I don't like it because it's kind of like a filtering system, right? It's kind of just
and Sergio, you said something really interesting. I can't remember where you said it. I think it was on your TikToks. You said if you want to just do like this hookup culture on dating sites, whatever, go right ahead, right? Look for the next ticket. Look for, you know what I mean? Like just and you're that's what you were saying. You were saying, why is society like this? He goes, it's because of the hookup culture, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like,
it doesn't make sense to me because it's just so easy to just to go on, because the thing is, at the end of the day, think about it like this: you go on a date, let's say the minute that something throws you off, before even having to actually try to actually get to know the person, in your head you could already cross this person out because you know that in your phone you have 99 other local singles waiting for you, right? So it's like, why am I even going to try to bother or fathom the thought of potentially like actually giving this guy a second date, when who knows, maybe the second date is what it would have took to actually discover who this guy was, an amazing person, when you have 99 other potential people that are there out you, right? So we're actually, in my opinion, because of these dating websites, I think we're actually losing our chances in actually meeting the right one because we're so quick to just kind of swipe.
Like before, it was like you gotta go to the library or where okay, maybe not the library, but I don't know. You go to maybe like you go to the bus stop and you can meet somebody before. Like you talk now. If you talk to somebody at the bus stop, you're gonna be considered like a creep and forget it. But it's like they had no choice before. You had to go somewhere to meet somebody. But now it's all at the click of your hand over here. You have unlimited access. God knows how many super like this. So you can meet all kinds of people. Swipe right. And the fact that it's so easy to meet someone kind of ruins it, right? Yeah. And another thing I wanted to tell you is that a lot of people, okay, because guys, there's a dark side to this. I'm not saying like it's great online dating. You can meet people. That I will never take away from you, but be careful, okay? There's a lot of what you see on there that you'll be taken for surprise. Trust me. I mean, there's scams. There's like sugar. There's gold digging men. There's gold digging women. Like everything, bots, scams, people that are not who they say they are. Trust me. Like one picture of them is not enough to know who this person is. At the end of the day, they could take anybody's picture. That would be catfishes, which is a whole nother story, Sergio. Because now I think it's become so big, catfishing. Like I don't know if you saw The Circle, the show, but it's all about like catfishing. Like it shows all the people that like to catfish, and it's like a competition of like catfishing. It's unbelievable, Sergio. But like I said, guys, I mean, if you want to try it out. These are just our views on this. As a guy who's been on online dating and somebody who knows a lot about relationships like Sergio, that's what our thoughts are. But whether you find someone online or you find someone in person, how do you know when they're the one, Sergio?
Yeah, this is an interesting topic that we had, you and I, a bit before last time. But my answer to that is, I don't think you just randomly stumble across the one. I don't think that, you could ever feel like this person is the one just because of how you feel about them. I genuinely think that somebody becomes the one for you, right? And that happens through compromise, sacrifice, experience, learning things from one another. So I think just by doing that, the person ends up becoming the one for you, because not everybody's willing to sacrifice or to compromise for someone else, right? Some people are very, selfish, and they won't bend for anybody, right? Or at least they won't bend for that person, but they might bend for someone else, right? So that's why I'm saying that you become the one when you choose to. When you just start, living not only for yourself, but for the other person, you start doing things that, yes, mind you, are beneficial for you, but you take into account having a partner, right?
Absolutely. And Slim Jim said, options have killed long-lasting relationships. It takes a period of time to find someone to share your life with. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to say, Sergio. I forgot to say it, but when you're online, or whether you're dating people in person, it takes a lot of weeding through. Like, you have to go through a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go through a lot of, honestly, you have to go through a lot of trash before you find a gem. You know what I mean? Before you find someone that's right for you. And a lot of people, they won't even go on that experience. They won't even date. They're scared to even start dating one person because they don't want to get heartbroken, right? But then at the end of the day, it comes to, like, do you have the guts to do it, right? Like, do you have the confidence? It's about self-confidence as well, I guess,
Yeah, and it's also about, especially people that come out of a breakup, it's very important to understand that not everybody's the same. Not every guy is the that you just broke up with. Not every girl is like the girl that you broke up with, or that cheated on you, or this and that. But it's very easy to kind of label people as is. But, I think it's something that's also, like cultural. I mean, I have a lot of friends and a lot of people that are out in LA, and try to find a relationship in LA is impossible, right? Just because people are kind of taught, and they know, like, with the college parties and this and that, like the hookup culture there is huge, right? Nobody is really looking to settle. People are just looking there to go out and party and stuff like that, right? So I think there's a cultural aspect in there too, in the sense of, like, my parents would never understand that kind of mentality, right? If I were to do that, they would shame me. If I were to say, like, I'm just partying and stuff like that, right? So I mean, especially from Montreal too, a lot of people are immigrants, and some parents have old school mentalities and stuff like that, right? So we kind of look up to our parents, because a lot of immigrant parents, they tend to stay together for not only the benefit of having come to the country, but finance and stuff like that. And we look up to them, and these are relationships that have been going on for 25 years, 35 years, 45 years, right? So, like, that's like what we know, and that's kind of what we want, and that's kind of like what we will want. We don't want to settle less than what our parents had, because that looks like true love for us, right? Not this whole hookup culture, right?
Exactly. And Slim Jim said, manifest your significant other and go into each day knowing the golden rule. There is no one that will ever love you more than you love yourself. Wow. That's a great quote, Slim Jim. Absolutely. Now, Sergio, we're gonna talk a bit about your webinar, because you do have webinars, which, guys, you need to be part of. You gotta learn so much. But what is the benefit of talking to someone one-on-one, like we're doing right now? Imagine there was no audience, it was just me and you. What are the benefits of talking to, whether it's a psychologist, a friend, like seeking help? Like, what's the benefit of that, Sergio?
Yeah, well, I think what's the benefit of talking to, people like, because the thing about psychologists is that, you're paying someone to listen to you. So whether they like it or not, they have to listen to you. Mind you, people do pay me as well, but I think, like, people like me or you or other people that are out there, I think people that are empathetic are very good to be able to put themselves in your possession. So it depends on who you talk to. But what's great about talking to someone one-on-one is kind of, we're always in our own head, right? It's kind of like a jail or a prison cell. We're always in there, and we're always thinking about our own thoughts. And then the minute that you talk to someone else, something that they say or that they make you realize might actually help you branch out and give you an entire different perspective, right? And it might just throw whatever you were just thinking about out the window, just because they brought something to your attention, they gave you a different perspective, a different way of seeing things, and that you didn't even know was actually a possible thought, right? So that's definitely one of the biggest benefits of talking to someone.
Okay, but and like you do these webinars, which are basically almost like conferences, right? Sergio? Hello, Sergio?
So hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Sorry, we froze a bit.
Yeah, I'm good. So yes, I do webinars. The one that I've been doing now, just because I started like two months ago. It's all about how to move on and rediscover yourself. That's what the title is. Because that's really what the basics of it are. And then with the webinars that I'm going to have moving forward is now what to do after you've embarked on this journey and wanting to rediscover yourself, right? Because these things in life, these periods of time, right, all happen in phases. But the main one that I really touch on, because I know it has helped and it will continue to help people, is definitely my webinars about how to teach people on how to move on and rediscover themselves for sure.
Okay, and how do they Ross said Sergio the hologram. How do they get in touch with you, like to be part of these webinars? Like, where do they buy the tickets? Is it on your TikTok?
And no, so it's not in my TikTok, because the links that I currently use, they don't work when you are on TikTok. However, the appropriate links to use is in my Instagram bio and my link tree. Everything's labeled. So whether you want a one-on-one session, it's in my link tree, or the July 12th webinar, it's all in there for you guys to be able to go and see and check out.
So guys, if you need the services of Sergio, go on his Instagram. It's in the description. Click on it. You'll find his link tree, which is going to give you a bunch of services and directories on how you could get one-on-one sessions with Sergio. Like I said, you saw what he's talking facts over here. You know, he knows what he's talking about. But Sergio, I want to ask you something. Is there ever would there ever be somebody that's just like unfixable? Do you believe in that? Because there's people, like a lot of people say that like this person's like beyond the repair, or do you believe in that? Like that there's just people that just can't be fixed?
Yeah, well, even the people that are labeled as being beyond repair, it's all based on the willpower that they have to actually want to change. Because you could tell me that you want to change, but if you're not actually following up with actions, then that's how I know that you're not actually committing to actually want to move on, right? So if someone's telling me, yeah, you know, I'm changing, I'm going to listen to you, and then we have another session, you know, 2-3 weeks later, and you haven't applied anything, well, then I know is that now I'm just wasting my time. And oftentimes, actually, because I'm never about the money, I will actually not take them on again if they haven't done the appropriate steps that we spoke about in the previous session.
Wow, really? Okay, so this is really serious. Like, you got to do your homework, right?
Yeah, well, you got to do your homework, because at the end of the day, I mean, the way I think of it like this, I mean, we spoke, you know, a few days ago, but I'm a big advocate about time, right? So the 1 hour that I talked to you, the half hour that I talked to you, like you're taking the time away from somebody that maybe would have wanted to actually book a session with me and would have been willing to do the work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I have a last question for you. How do you deal with haters and critics? People that say, I mean, I don't know if you get it, this kind of hate, but like people that just say, maybe you took that from somebody else, or no, I don't agree with you. Like, how do you deal with those type of people on TikTok, on Instagram, wherever it may be? Maybe in your webinars, I don't know if anybody shouts. I don't know if it ever happened, but.
No, I mean, look, if anybody was to shout during my webinar, I mean, look, you paid for it. So if anything, shout all you want. But you contributed, right? But luckily, in this whole experience, I've yet to find an actual hater. There's these comments now and then that people might disagree with the videos that I made, but it's never in a heinous approach. They'll be critical, and I'm open to to criticism, because that's the only way I think that we could improve, right? But definitely the critics is maybe just people in my own personal entourage. I mean, people are very supportive of what I do, but like I've been called like, you know, a simp, or like, why do you tell me, why do you post like stuff of like of things that people is like it's common knowledge and stuff like that. I either don't respond or I do respond, but it never takes a toll. Like I'm not about it. Like I'm never gonna meet this person. I'm never gonna dwell on a negative thought longer than 10 seconds, you know.
And a comment on your video is engagement, right? So I mean, it doesn't hurt at all. Like,
thank you. Yeah.
Like, whenever you have an opinion about someone and you're commenting on a video, you're just helping that person, right? Whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So
if I get like a large amount of hate, I would just let it sit there, because the only thing it's gonna do is just bump me up further and further.
exactly. So, but that's good. That like I said, when I started, I had a lot of well, like, you know, on YouTube, like I was dealing with a lot of hate and like a bit mostly jealousy. You know, like other YouTubers saying, "Oh, how come you don't support us?" Like, you know, like random stuff.
Yeah.
They'll come up with anything, Sergio. Like, seriously, they'll
Yeah.
come up with anything. Someone who just wants to see you fail will just continue and dislike.
Yeah,
And,
not only wants to see you fail, but they also want a piece of the pie, right? And the minute, like, you have some clout, and then somebody asks you for something in benefit of your clout, the minute that you say no, it's like, oh, you're big time now, kind of thing. It's like
yeah, there's that side of, like, we all know, like, I mean, eventually you can't answer everybody, or at least answer everybody on time, right? I mean, you're not an octopus, like, you know what I mean? You have a life too. No, but I'm serious. Like, you know, and a lot of people take that, like, they look at, oh, what did Ange answer? What did Sergio? You know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, it's about time management too. You know, you can't like, you can't do the impossible. You know what I mean? You want to please everybody, but at the end of the day, you do what you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, my slogan, well, not slogan, but something that I have in my bio that I'm a big advocate about is I always tell people I always answer my DMs, no matter if it's hundreds, whatever. I always answer my DMs. I always say, I might not get to you right that second. It might take me a few hours. It could take me a couple of days, but I will end up getting to your DM, you know, for sure.
And I respect that, like, Sergio, like, especially that I messaged you. You had no idea who I was, and you took the time to read it and appreciate it, and you saw what I do and you like it. So, like, thank you very much again for coming, Sergio. You've been amazing. I just have one little thing that I want to know. Do you have any upcoming projects? Maybe a YouTube channel? I think you do have a YouTube channel, but are you thinking of doing something very consistent? What about acting? Something else in entertainment? What's in store for the future?
In the entertainment space, no, but definitely into the whole self-improvement space, yeah. So for YouTube itself, yes, I am going to be having YouTube. It's still going to be under the name of Sergios.Talks, where I'm going to be vlogging, posting like specific topics that some people would want me to elaborate about. But there's definitely going to be vlogs. It's definitely going to be a lot more consistent. If not, Instagram is going to be coming up with the same kind of videos that I make on TikTok, but it's definitely going to be a lot more motivational, morning affirmation type kind of content. And TikTok will remain breakup therapy kind of stuff.
Yeah, and do we have any celebrations for 1 million followers on TikTok? Because I don't know if you're there yet. Are you?
No, soon. I think we're at 960,000, something like that.
So that means maybe what, in a couple weeks, maybe?
Couple weeks. I mean, however long it takes, it's gonna take to get there. But in terms of celebration, I think, you know, it's a good point. I've been contemplating what to do, but I think I'm actually gonna ask the people at some point in time on Instagram what exactly would they'd like to, because I had to celebrate it with them, right? I had to celebrate
for sure,
because there would be no celebration need to be done without them, right? So I'm definitely gonna leave it up to the audience, the people watching, if they want to contribute to when I do ask. But I'm definitely going to make a poll and ask what people want me to do for that 1 million.
Nice. But I also have a question. I know you're not a TikTok expert, but I've noticed some people, they hit 1 million, and then their account gets deleted. Have you heard of that? Like, no?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, the thing is that at some point, I feel like sometimes people, the cloud gets to their head. And I think that they make a lot of videos. And I think once you hit 1 million, now TikTok actually takes the time and goes through your entire account, and then they start picking up, violation guidelines, even if it's videos that have been posted like 2 or 3 months ago, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's only a few amount of strikes that you could get before they send you off, right? Kind of things.
Yeah. Okay, so wait a minute. What type of violations are people getting though? Like, I don't understand. Like, a lot of people are complaining about that.
Some people could be hate speech, nudity, bullying, harassment, dangerous. Like I had violated a guideline because in one of my videos, you just see me for a quick second, like driving. Okay. And it says that this video demonstrates violent practices, right?
Wow. Because they think that you're filming while you're driving, right?
Exactly. So I think what happens is that once you hit 1 million, I guess you into like a different bracket for TikTok. So they kind of like look through you thoroughly.
Yeah, because you're bigger. Like, it's all about, like, you could do stupid things and be small and probably get away with it. But once you have a big platform, then they deplatform you, right?
Like, exactly. I mean, a lot of YouTubers have left YouTube because videos that they posted even years ago started getting flagged.
Exactly, because I noticed that I had Trump videos that I had in private. I re-put them up, like I made them public again, and then they just got deleted. Like, what the hell,
Yeah.
you know?
So you lose, you get, like demonetized videos that get removed and stuff like that. But that's only after it seems like it's been months now where you feel like you've been untouched. So now you've been supplying this content over and over and over again. And now that once you hit a certain plateau, now it's like everything that you are known for, you either have to flip the script and no longer be as genuine, or they just kind of take you off entirely, right? If ever you do continue.
And another aspect to this, Sergio, which a lot of creators won't admit, some people do unnatural growth, like they do all kinds of different strategies that I'm sure that if like the TikTok, YouTube, whatever, they pick up on these things. And there are ways you can get your account deleted. So if you're trying to make things really, really artificial, they're going to know right away. You know, it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, 100%.
And the bigger your platform, the more of a target you are too, with hackers and jealous people, like I said, people that want to cancel you, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, at the end of the day, you know, you take it one day at a time, and you try to avoid all these, you know, I've never seen you do drama stuff, so I don't think that's your cup of tea.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not the type, because there's a lot of people that are the type to really push the limit on TikTok and do something so crazy that it gets attention, right? They're called attention-seeking stunts. They're done on YouTube as well. But guys, honestly, stay away from that stuff. Just do you know, focus on your content. And like I said, do something educational that people could learn about, right? I saw a quote that said, if whoever you're following doesn't inspire you or educate you or teach you or something like that, don't like unfollow them or something. And it's 100% true.
Yeah, I mean, because otherwise you're just having pointless conversations, or you're just, you know, consuming the wrong kind of media, right?
Absolutely. Listen, Sergio, thank you very much for coming. You've been amazing, enlightening. You've been helping out a lot of the people that were asking questions about their own relationships and how to get over things, how to deal with losses. Thank you for your time as well. I know you're a very busy guy. And guys, get ready, because now the Canadians are playing. So we're gonna go root for the Habs, guys. Go Habs, go! I have my flag over here, and also Forza Italia for those of you that are Italy fans. I'm Italian at least, but and that's it, guys. Oh, you're blocking ears now. You're blocking ears because I said Italy. Okay, it's stung your ears a bit. Eh?
Exactly.
Yeah. So guys, like I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to this video, share it with your friends. Go check out Sergio.Talks, Tik Toks. Check them all, guys, because each and every one of them you need to see. You need to watch over again as well, because you might not have understood what he was saying, so you can watch it again. There's no problem with that. He goes live. He has webinars. Go check out Sergio Talks. Also, next week, guys, we have a comedian on TikTok, actually, Chris Vendito, is coming. Very funny guy. He always reacts to when Italy wins or stuff like that. He's hilarious, or the Habs win. He's a funny guy. I'm excited to have him on. But that's it for tonight. Like I said, thank you very much, Sergio. Guys, enjoy the Habs game. Take care. And like I said, keep your air conditioning on, because it's a very hot night tonight.
All right? I'm sweating bullets.
Yeah, me too, man. Okay, guys, take care. Me and Sergio are signing out. Oh.